It's Dew Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this Dew Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you last week? Last week we started off shaking the Monday morning blues with the Dew Time crew, and we talked about the things that wives do that might make it a little hard for the husband to come home to. And we talked about being a drama queen. We talked about just really the nagging, now you want to be the boss and all kinds of things. And you know what? That's not going to work. That is not going to work in any dynamic, in any home. It is simply not going to work. And you don't want to invest your time into things that really will not work. So come on, be an ambassador for Christ. Remember, and that's why we have to really have a relationship with God, because that's the only thing that's really going to kind of streamline our behavior. Yeah, we're going to be doing all kinds of things in life, and that's not going to fare very well, okay? Basement braces, anybody? Yes, let's talk about it Tuesday. Talked about the trend now. And instead of taking your little $3,000 to $10,000 to get the braces that you want, that we want to do the cosmetic thing, get braces for $150. Whether it's cosmetic or something that you really need, doing that is not going to be very healthy, because you have no idea what these people are doing, and neither do they. And now you're putting your hands into someone who has no medical training, who could do anything that might cost you your life. Yes, it's just that intricate. So come on, let's make better decisions. We've been talking about this thing for the last few weeks, making better decisions. So please stay out the basement and getting the braces done. It ain't gonna work. Oh boy. Wow Wednesday brought us a brand new kind of wow with our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment. Oh, we had this 64-year-old grandma who is now reading a pregnancy stick that says positive. And that's only one aspect of her dilemma. She actually has a Reggie who will not take her phone calls and who will not return her phone calls. But you know what? Over these past few days, I realized there was another dilemma. I put this out on social media. Yeah. That all of this that's going on would not be embarrassing enough for me to kind of make this and keep this private. I'm sorry. I could never be in that level of distress that I would put something like this out, because nothing about this had a good look. Not one aspect of it had a good look. And we've got to learn to make better judgment calls. I'm telling you, here we go again. The better and the best decisions. Well, Jeremiah Preparatory Academy Tutorial Services. Oh, did we get a nice snapshot of what that was about by our Dr. Shauna Washington. Oh, she turned that into a whole praise the Lord thing. Yes, yes, yes. Wonderful, wonderful preview of what this tutorial services, what they have to offer, and how and what their approach is, what their concerns are, how they're addressing things. And I tell you, it looks like this might be a winner, y'all. Not only that, but a woman of God is behind it all. So, anytime God is involved, it always renders a slam dunk. So, come on, let's get this going and let's make this happen for this Jeremiah Preparatory Academy. And just a little preview also of what's going to be presented at our health fair and services table at the 4th annual Breaking the Yoke Women's Conference Prayer and Awareness Walk. So there's a lot to look forward to, okay? So make sure you get those shirts and come on out. Come on out. We did, we had to extend it a couple days. So you got a couple days to get this done. Don't miss your opportunity. And that's how we spent last week. Well, today is shaking the Monday morning blues all over again. And guess what? It is our final Monday in the month of June. Can you imagine? We are already in the second half of the year. This first half, I don't know about you all, but it has flown by. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, all I can say is get ready, because you don't know what's going to happen when time is flying by this quickly. So come on, let's get this party started. I'm just going to warn you, I have almost no news. All my resources yesterday showed zero. Yes, I'm struggling today. So I'm going to rely on my due time crew to come on in and fill in these gaps, and you can help me do the same. So come on, let's go get that healthy breakfast. Let's tell everybody, it's due time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere, because we will be right back.
Read something that said, you can't fool somebody that prays and talks to God about everything. Either tell them the truth or God will. And when I was little, I always used to hear, don't worry, everything will come to light. And that is literally the truth. You will see, the closer you get to God and the more you get into God's presence, there is no one and no thing in this life that can form against you and prosper. That is why the Bible says, no weapons formed against me shall prosper. And that is when you believe God for what He is doing in your life. That is when you trust God for what He is doing in your life. That is why you say the hard prayers. God, remove anything and anyone who are not meant for me. And you don't even have to explain. That is why you need to be intentional with your prayers. That is why you need to be intentional when you are talking to God during your quiet time. And if you don't have quiet time during the day, I highly recommend that you sit in God's presence and you enter that silence. The Bible says, enter silence and seek me. Then you will be in my presence. God hears you. God sees all things. But God will not force you to go to Him. You have to have that urge and that willingness in your heart, in your spirit, and in your mind to seek God in all you do, to involve God in all you do, to allow God to lead you in this life. I hope this message reached the right group of people. God bless you.
P.S. Hey, Shantisa's giving she's giving another meaning to PSA. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome back to It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Yo, where did you get that one from? Talk about intentional living. Wow. Fantastic. I don't think we realize that we must be intentional. We all may slip and fall. We all may, kind of wobble and lose our way. And we all may kind of get a little woozy every once in a while. Like, ooh, okay. I got to get my bearings together. But when I tell you that we must be intentional about serving God in everything we do, in everything we say, oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. I think I need to wake up to that PSA every single day, because it's so taken for granted that we're going to automatically do things the right way. It's so taken for granted that we don't have to do certain things, or we don't have to pay attention to certain things, or we don't have to focus on certain things. It's just, we just take that for granted, that we can, as Cedric the entertainer would say, we just think we can do things all willy-nilly. We shrug it off and we keep it moving, and we think God just gonna keep us breathing. We must be intentional about serving God. That right there, that was powerful. Thank you. I don't know who that young lady is, but if she don't get nothing else right, she got that right. And in getting that right, she's going to get a whole lot of other things right. As they say, bravo. I don't care what else she do. If she takes her own advice, she's going to make it in the kingdom. Yeah, because if you keep that in the center of your mind, in the center of your heart, in the center of your spirit, because see, the Spirit of the Lord can reign all it needs to. But if you quench that spirit, I'm telling you, when I say it's you gonna take you down big time, then baby, you better pay attention, because everything else has intention. The enemy is very intentional. He comes to steal, kill, steal, and destroy. He's intentional, because nothing about one of those three words is light. Nothing. There's nothing light about any of those words. Anytime you think of any of those words and what the meaning is, that's destruction. So he's intentional. So we're going to have to be intentional to stay out of his grip, to stay out of trouble, to stay in God's grace and mercy. We're going to have to be intentional. I remember very, very distinctly a person saying to me, y'all give too much credit to the enemy. He can't do nothing. He's not powerful. He can't do anything. No, y'all need to get it together. Y'all need to get that together, because the enemy ain't got nothing on us. And I just looked over and I was like, okay, I need to step away from you quick, fast, and in a hurry. And can I tell you, no lie, it was all of maybe a week and a half. I saw that person go down the drain. When I tell you, all out of character, all hell was breaking. I mean, it was like somebody just went poof. And it went from one extreme straight out to the next. And I finally asked, I was like, what happened to you? What's wrong? What that's not like you. What were you doing? What were you thinking? And they said, I don't know, Steph. I don't know. I don't know why I did any of those things. And I went and I prayed and I said, God, what is happening here? What just happened? I watched this whole thing just play out in front of my face. What kind of mess is this? And the Lord said two things. They challenged the enemy. So now the enemy is coming back with a vengeance. The enemy is responding with a vengeance. They told the enemy they were nothing. They weren't powerful at all. That they could beat the enemy. So the enemy showed how powerful they were. But I'm going to let you know why I sat back and let it happen. And I was like, whoa, listen to that. I sat back and I watched and I let it happen. Because when you said that the enemy ain't nothing, ain't got nothing on me, I could fight the enemy on my own. The Lord said, oh, you can? Well, let me see how well you do. Because they didn't give God the credit. Because they did not come for God and say, you know what? It's me and you against the enemy. I let them see you're not as powerful as you thought you were. So there's your wake-up call. So you don't go into nothing without me. Because I'm going to let you know you always going to need me. You could try it on your own. But you're going to always need me. I was blown away and I have never forgotten it. Not even a little bit. And this PSA reminds me of that. How we take ourselves down because we don't keep our eye on the prize. We can't do anything without God. When we step out, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Never says no weapon formed against me. It says shall prosper. But that's when you are walking in alignment with the Lord. That ain't got nothing to do with you taking you down the yellow brick road. You have no protection when you have voluntarily left God someplace else. Powerful. That thing just changed my day. Thank you so much, Shantice, for that word. Well, we're shaking the Monday morning blues. If you're in the room, please make sure you let Pastor Steph know, because that's the only way I'm going to know to say good morning to you. Oh, we got to check it from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Kitty girl, what's going on? Good morning. Oh, we got to check in from Your Highness, King Terrence. Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got to check in from our Lady Tamika on this side of the screen, and we are saying good morning back, and we can't wait to get to you on the other side of the screen. Oh, we got a series of great PSAs. We have an official check-in from our Miss Grace. Good morning, Miss Grace. Thank you so much for joining us. And we pray you have a wonderful day. All right. We can't go any further without saying good morning to the ladies that hold us down each and every day. They're like taking all the shots, so we don't see half the stuff that goes on in the background. Let's say good morning to our girl Shantice. Hey, Shantice. Let's say good morning to our girl Anika. Hey, Anika. Thank you so much for all you do. Oh, we got a check-in from our Pastor Brenda. Pastor Brenda's hanging out with us quite a bit these days. Oh, my goodness. And what a blessing. Thank you so much for joining us. So happy that you can be with us. And if you're in the room, make sure you keep hanging out with us today. Just might get something. If you were up for that PSA, you already started your shaking the Monday morning blues, right? Absolutely. All right, we got our health tip this morning, and it's funny, someone just mentioned to me about the health tips that we have spoken about regarding anti-inflammatory foods. And lo and behold, I had sitting in my arsenal next up was this. So we're going to go through some inflammatory foods, not just inflammatory foods, but that can age the brain faster. Now, we sure don't need no help doing that. Do we? No. So get your pen and paper. I keep telling you, do not come to the table without a pen and a piece of paper so that we can do all that we need to do after we leave the broadcast, okay? We don't hear it any kind of steps away. We got to check it from good morning, Serge. Pastor Steph, good morning. I love you. Serge, you trying to get on my good side? Good morning, good morning, good morning. I love you more, Serge. Thank you so much for being a part of my life. I so appreciate you. All righty. Now, let's get to these inflammatory foods that help our brains age quicker. So you definitely want to stay away from this stuff because we don't need any aging assistance. White bread. I can't tell you the last time I ate a piece of white bread unless it was like a bun. So I guess that counts as white bread, huh? Okay. They say eating, bread every once in a while is not going to do a whole lot of damage. But the more we eat bread, it does a lot more damage than you think. They said white bread is known as one of the least healthy versions of bread because it's a refined carbohydrate that's been stripped of all its beneficial nutrients. Stop buying the white bread. I think it's been a good 15, 16 years since I've bought white bread like that. They say refined carbohydrates may also affect the gut-brain axis and cause inflammation in the body, including the brain, y'all, including the brain. And here's what happens. A lot of times we forget that the brain is part of the body and the things that we do won't affect the brain. You know what? Pastor KL needs to be officially blocked from this. Oh my gosh. Good morning, Pastor KL. Please get on this side stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. Stay out of trouble. All right. They say that all that's going on with the white bread, it is official that it can increase the risk of anxiety and depression. And we don't want that. We surely don't want that. All righty. Frozen meals. Wow. Frozen meals is second on the list. They say frozen dinners you see in the freezer aisle are tempting to pick up because they're flavorful, they're yummy, like pasta or fried portions or fried proteins, and they're super easy to make. Yep, we throw them in the oven, we walk off, we go take a nap, we come back, we get our food in. But they say, although it is convenient, that it is filled with ultra-processed foods, and they are notorious for hurting various aspects of our health. Oh boy. They say people who eat diets high in ultra-processed foods, such as packaged cereals, frozen meals, and sweets, have a higher chance of feeling depressed and anxious than those who eat fewer of these foods. And it may increase the risk of cognitive decline. Can I tell y'all something? And I'm going to step off. So I told you I didn't have no news today. So it gives me room to talk. Can I tell you? Oh my God. God is something else. Oh my God. Oh my God. God just gave me something. I'm going to move on from there. Margarine. Now, can I tell y'all something? I honestly don't look for butter. I don't look for margarine. I look for anything that's like soft in that family. So I know I can't pick up the margarine now because they say that there's a misconception that margarine is worse than butter. and it's fine to eat it. They say, but eating margarine in large quantities is not good. Margarine is typically made from seed or vegetable oils, and it has a lot of those trans fats that easily harm our cognitive function and slow us down. Wow. Sugary drinks. Answering everything this morning. Sugary drinks. They say if you can't get out your day without having some sugary drinks such as soda, juice, and all of that kind of stuff, they say it is doing damage to our metabolic health by messing with the brain's vascular system. Ain't nobody thinking that all that sugar is messing with your brain. You know how we associate sugar in the brain when we say, don't get them kids all that candy because they're going to be bouncing around. That's as far as it goes. Nobody ever thinks. Remember last week when I said, have you ever watched a person make a cup of coffee? They make a cup of coffee and then they get the sugar and they do like this. And I'm saying to myself, how is that delicious? I have got to the point where anything on my tongue that's sugary, it just like gives me like a jolt. Now, unfortunately, that kind of makes you crave sugar. And there are times where for me, I get the craving, and there's other times where I'm like, give me my water. That's just too much. It could be a drop of sugar. The sugary drinks, they say there are over 50 million people with dementia. And it is slated that this has come from a high level of sugar is contributing to that dementia. It's not the cause necessarily, but it definitely contributes to hurting your brain. Oh my goodness. Here we go. Candy and sweets, the same exact thing. They say like saturated fat, refined sugar can cause weight gain in addition to a decline in other aspects of our health, especially helping to age the brain faster. So all that candy, all that sweet stuff, processed meats, bacon, sausage, hot dogs, deli meats have been associated with negative health outcomes such as your brain health. There's no exception. And I just said to y'all last week, I was like, you know what? I'm guilty of the deli meat and cheese. I'll buy it in a minute because it's quick for me. I can't be looking for anything to eat. I will always eat wrong. Well, guess what? I'm still eating wrong. They say these products are often high in sodium, preservatives, and compounds called nitrates, which can contribute to inflammation and oxidative stress throughout our body. That chronic inflammation may negatively affect cognitive function and increase the risk of age-related brain changes. Wow. Fried foods. Fried chicken, onion rings, other fried favorites can become a really big cost to your brain health. They say they're definitely always produced in, remember we talked about that high heat that goes through, because remember those things are cooked at a high range of heat, and that releases a lot of toxins through that oil. They say regularly eating fried foods can raise the risk of obesity, high blood pressure, and type 2 diabetes, and things that are associated with dementia and accelerated brain aging. So please, if we're going to eat better, then we need to eat better We need to take care of our health. Every once in a while, having a French fry is nothing wrong with it. But when we make these things that were just on this list a regular part of our diet, then we're going to have to slow down. And can I tell you something? I'm watching it happen right before my eyes. I'm watching it happen right before my eyes. Thank you, God, for your revelation. All right. We got a check-in from ASM Arts. Good morning. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. Tamika says, if you eat white bread with deli meats and you just gave yourself 1-2 punch in the wrong direction. You're right. Because that's what we do. We eat the deli meat with the white bread. Unlike Pastor Steph, who eats his finger food. Ain't nothing with that. But Tamika's really right. Remember we talked about, when we're talking about like certain other things, and I said when you make a smoothie, if they told us that nuts were good and berries were good and greens were good, that's half your smoothie right there. So like she said, a 1-2 punch into the right direction. This is the same way. This gives us a 1-2 punch in the wrong direction. So we want to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to do to make sure we are in the right direction. All righty. Let's get to this 1-2 punch news that I have over here. All righty. I really thought this was played out, but again, ain't nothing new under the sun. They have an ex-Arby's employee who allegedly spit in her customer's food. And this customer is now suing for an undisclosed amount of money. This woman, let me see her name. Do they give her a name? Amanda was arrested, and now she has a bond that is set at $25,000. So what they said was Jenica Church rolled up at the drive-thru of an Arby's, and she ordered some sandwiches. She said that this woman was working at the Arby's that night, and she was the one responsible for preparing her food. She's claiming that she spit intentionally and deliberately spit on the meat or any of that sandwich. She's also saying that she spit on the food knowingly having oral herpes and was experiencing an active herpes outbreak with visible lesions. Okay, so I pull up at McDonald's window. Mary comes to the window and she says, "May I take your order?" I go to the next drive-thru window after I place my order. Now is to pay and pick up my food. So I'm assuming that Mary was at the second window, because the first person dealing with your money ain't the person. I'm sorry, the person that's taking your order ain't necessarily the person who's dealing with your money and who's giving you your food. And I'm looking at Mary, and Mary has oral herpes indication on her face. And she has a visible lesion or lesions that indicate that she has a herpes outbreak. Now I'm trying to figure out how you got time to do all of this assessing. Because I don't remember. Now, I ain't been in the drive-thru in a while where I've been the driver. I've been sitting in the back seat. How long do we really have to look at these people and determine what we see is this, or what we see is that? How does that work? So y'all can tell me, because I've been also having problems with my eyes for the last couple of years. So y'all tell me how y'all figure out when I look at this woman or this man that whatever's on their face, I didn't look at you long enough. Because see, here's my question. If you looking at it just driving through, how come the manager ain't said nothing? Did the manager look and say, listen, Mary, I'm noticing some stuff on your face. You might want to put on a mask. Or, Mary, let's step in the back. Can you tell me what's going on with your face? Because I'm a little concerned. That's just me, y'all. That's just Pastor Steph in her crazy way of thinking. But maybe the Do Time crew, maybe y'all can bring me to the light. They say that she said that the woman spit on her food, knowing that she had all of this issue going on. And after eating the food, she claims that she started getting flare-ups around her mouth. So she went to the doctor, who gave her an STD test and confirmed that she had herpes. She says now she has to live with the constant fear that she'll transmit the disease to other family members and friends. Why? Are you planning on spitting on their food? Because if you know you have oral herpes, stop kissing people. Stop making mouth to mouth or mouth to face or forehead or whatever contact. I think that's pretty simple. I think you got a leg up. Because if you didn't know that you had it, now you hugging and kissing, and now you spreading. But now that you know, what you gonna do about it? Well, they say that she believes that there is a surveillance video from the restaurant showing that this woman spit in the sandwiches while preparing her order. Now they say there's nothing that shows. Oh, here we go. I forgot this little piece. They said that when they did an interview, they found out that the two women knew each other and had a history, but it was nothing major. Cause didn't I tell you it didn't make no sense? It didn't make no sense. Let me tell you what happened. This woman knows that she had oral herpes because they're familiar with one another. So word is that Mary has oral herpes. And when she allowed Mary to fix her food and she then got oral herpes, the first thing she did was go back to this individual. There you go. There's a story right there. All right, I got some comments going on in this chat room. Terrence says she better hope she stay in jail with her nasty self. You stupid, Terrence. Terrence says the anxiety about going to other fast food restaurants is going to be so high. I will never eat out again. This is crazy. But see, now you got some history. You got some history, Terrence. They knew one another. Because it make no sense that all of a sudden you just feel like somebody just spitting your food arbitrarily. Because the first thing I was looking for was, well, did they say there was some kind of altercation? And this gave a reason. Okay. All righty. You know what? Pastor Kale is not on yet, but I got a couple of minutes to talk to my lady Tamika. Let's say good morning.
Monday morning. Good morning. How are you?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
I am doing well, thank you.
Good. I was waiting for that jingle. That's why I had the cup up to my mouth. And when you were sitting there looking at me, I'm like, why she ain't singing? She knows her cue.
I know.
You just wanted to pass the stuff to be paying special attention, right? Special attention. Well, it's good to have you on with us this morning. We got some stuff to talk about. Thank you. And I'm looking at the time and I'm like, you know what? We got a little bit of time to talk. before we go into our main topic, because before you know it, we'll be up to the switch with Shantice. All right, let's talk about this thing here. So you roll up, you're looking at this woman. So the first question is, have you looked in somebody's face long enough during a quick transaction at a drive-through window to determine that this person has oral herpes and he had some lesions to indicate it?
Yeah. As soon as you said that, I kept saying to myself, who looks okay? So first of all, I don't do drive-through. I don't trust people. I just don't. We going in. I don't care how, we getting out the car. We going in. We gonna see everything, But anyway, you decide that you're gonna go through the drive-through. 9 times out of 10 at that time, you fumbling with your money. You're talking to somebody in the passenger seat, or you might be on the phone. The average person is not looking at your face. You barely see. The only thing that you might know is a male or female, light skin, dark skin, that type of thing. But me looking in your face, no, and to be able to know, okay, I know that that's a herpes lesion. Like, who really focuses on that degree unless you know somebody who has herpes? Because for the most part, I don't know what it looks like. I had to, as a matter of fact, while you were talking, I was Googling and I was like, ooh. And just looking, just the whole idea. And then who's looking at, okay, so if you go through the first drive-through window and you passed your cash, the person that's giving you your food is in and out. They're moving around. You don't get a chance to see their face, and you don't get a chance, on most cases, to see them, spitting in your food. You must be looking real, oh, I know her, so I don't really trust her. So I'm going to watch the whole interchange to make sure she's not doing anything with my food. It's obvious that you had to know each other. So when you said it, I was like, there's no surprise there.
Yep. It just didn't make any sense any other way, Tamika. It just didn't make sense. I agree with you. It just, because that's why I said, I worked out some of that in front of y'all. But even last night when I was reading this, I'm like, a stranger, you're going to be able to look at a stranger's face and say, oh, that's oral herpes, or she got lesions. And first of all, I'm gonna tell you, the last time I went through the drive-through, it ain't all that bright either.
Right.
A lot of the light is really behind them. Right there in that area, they don't have a lot of light. So I'm like, I was really puzzled. But then I was reminded when I read that, because I'm like, it had to be, because when I was reading, I was like, it had to be somebody she knew. And then sure enough, I was reminded in the story that they knew one another. It wasn't the worst exchange, or knowledge of one another, but it wasn't the best either. So you didn't heard through the grapevine that Mary got oral herpes. And now you putting your oral herpes outbreak on Mary.
The other thing that I don't get is, if I know Mary works at a spot that I'm going to go eat at, why would I even go there?
Thank you.
Is that the only restaurant in the entire town? Like, if I know Mary works at Arby's, I'm not going there. I'm going to go to McDonald's. We're not doing
That's what I said. Yep. Not only that, if I didn't know you worked at Arby's and I pulled up to get my food and you showed up, I'm like, oh, you know what? No, thank you.
Right.
Because listen, let me tell you something else, Tamika. There is no way in the world you two just knew one another. It's not hard. Y'all don't have a bad relationship, but you're going to assume that this person is spit in your food. That's a hate move.
Yes, it is.
That's a hate move. When you see on TV, when you see somebody, the men, especially the men, when they spit on the ground, and that's like disrespect. I have no respect for you. I hate you. Get out my face. That is a real hate move. That's intentional from the heart. That person can't stand you. So if you claim that it's not that bad, but I think you would spit in my food, it's that bad. So even your account too in this interview ain't clicking. Something ain't making sense. So no, I wouldn't give her nothing. I'm gonna be honest. We would have to take some DNA, and some little cells would have to be drafted to marry in order for me, because it's just no. Because how do I know y'all don't hate one another enough that you would go there intentionally so that you could make this claim? Yo, that's right. Anything is up for grabs at this moment. Let's see what Pastor KL has to say about this here, Tamika. I almost don't even want to hear what he got to say. Good morning.
What to do, crew? Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning.
I am blessed and highly favored of the Lord.
Oh, amen.
And to speak
Amen.
of such things, it's just bothering my spirit at the moment.
Tamika, we in trouble today. We got all of 45
minutes. It's too early.
We got all of 45 minutes to endure this behavior. Yes, Mr. KL. What would you like to say about this whole accusation?
I think it was a setup. He's just trying to come up and get some money. That's what I think it is. He apparently knew she worked there. He apparently knew her history. Listen, when people have different things, AIDS or, stuff, it's in the street already. I hear, so many of my customers talking about other customers who have, diseases or whatever. It's in the street. So all you got to do is know where they work. It's a setup. I need some money. Now, I don't know that I would, I will go that far to get it myself so that I can get this money. It's a little crazy. Or you already had it as well. And now you blaming the one who has it to get this money. It's a setup.
Passed my mind. Definitely passed my mind. Because there's no way in the world. That's why I say, no, we'd have to get some special DNA testing going on. If this ain't really linked to this person, nah. Because you put your foot in your mouth when you let on that you knew one another.
Right.
Nah. You blew it right there. Terrence says the history makes it worse. We don't ever see who's making our food, but they always see us. So now we all know it's people out there that don't like us. Laugh out loud. All righty. See, I ain't never had people that hate me that much that want to spit in my food. Now, maybe I'm just a little naive, but I didn't really have to make an enemy, Tamika, for somebody to want to spit in my food. Now, I don't know about you, but I done got to 59 years. I really don't think I've ever made an enemy who would want to spit in my food. But, hey, as they say, hey, you never know. Terrence says, haters are going to hate. Shanti said, if I noticed that you wouldn't be allowed to hand me my food. I'm not surprised. Pastor Brenda said, I look at everything and everyone. Hold on. When I go through the drive-thru. Yes, Minister Tamika Bynum. Oh my goodness. Shati says that's what happens when you live in these small towns that only has one restaurant. Yep. Terrence says, Pastor Steph, you will never know if people are jealous of you. They won't ever tell you. And you're right, Terrence. That's why I say, hey, you never know. You're absolutely right. I don't know if somebody's gonna hate me enough to want to feel that way about me. You're absolutely right. Because some shocking stuff happens in your life from time to time. And you know what? You on one level and they're on another. So I agree with you. All right, Lady Tamika, Minister Tamika. We got some stuff to talk about today in our relationship area. And, we all know those couples who are like glued to the hip. And we look at them and we like, oh, give me a break already. Or is that even healthy? Or they just make me sick. So today we're talking about couples who rely entirely on each other because neither one of them have any close friends. But it's unhealthy. You're not, according to this article, because see, they're saying you're not building intimacy. You're just kind of dealing with the only person you got. So Terrence says, at Terrence, that goes back to this morning's PSA. Absolutely.
That was Shantice.
What did I say?
Terrence.
It says at Terrence.
Right, but Shantice was talking to Terrence.
Right. Yes. I'm sorry. Okay. Thank you. All right. So they say, Tamika, that when we only have the one friend, which is our spouse, we ask one person to be that entire village. And whether we realize it or not, that's what, see, unfortunately, sometimes we don't word things right. We say, is that healthy? Oh, listen, if you only got that person in your world and you're only relying on that person, we don't necessarily term it as that one person we expect or they expect to be our whole village. But in essence, that's what we're saying. We just say it the street way. So why would you say you agree or disagree with that concept that when you don't have any friends and your spouse is your only friend, why would it be like they're expecting you to be your whole village, or why not?
I think it's healthy, excuse me, to have a circle outside of your spouse. There are times when differences of opinion, or sometimes you just need to break away for a minute, to be able to just be different. And I'll give you a comparative. A child that is what we call latchkey. All they know is mommy, 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 mommy. When mommy gets ready to go to work and you leave that child with either you leave the child at school for the first time or kindergarten or even with somebody else. I've seen so many different things that the other person has to do to keep the child contained because they're used to mommy, mommy, mommy. When mommy's not there, they spaz out. I remember taking care of a child and I used to have to take a blanket, put the blanket over the child's face so that the child couldn't see mommy leave. Sure enough, the child would be all right for a couple of minutes, but then all of a sudden there's this moment of spaz because where's my mommy? I can't find, and whether we recognize it or not, there are portions in relationships where you do that because you only have that person. So when you're looking for that other exterior, you're either by yourself or you're with that person.
Okay. Pastor KL, what say you? Do you think that they're correct or you beg to differ?
Yeah, I think that when you only depend on one person in your life, being your spouse or anybody, it becomes dangerous. One, because there's separation anxiety. If that one person wants to have a life outside of you, then you're not very understanding of it. Secondly, is God forbid something happens to this person.
Absolutely.
And he or she dies. Then what do you do as a whole woman, as a whole man? How do you survive after that? When you make somebody your whole entire world, you can't function without that person. And as someone said, that if you get into an argument and there's a disagreement, then how do you handle that? That's one of the biggest problems. So now you're just stuck in jail. You're stuck in the house because you have no outlet. You have no get out of jail pass because where would you go? So I think that could be a dangerous position to be in.
Absolutely. I always say a big mess was once a little mess. I will never forget. I was working at a camp and they mom and dad signed up their little son. He must have been about 5. Signed him up for camp. And when we went to pick him up, oh My goodness. All this screaming and kicking and oh my God, it was horrific. And we had to leave because we couldn't get them. So they'd send someone else. And this went on for a while. And finally they said, you know what? After a while, so what happened was the mother had to bring him. That's what happened. That's what ended up happening. Because when you would go to pick him up, it was like, no. So mom would have to leave a little earlier before she went to work so she could drop him off. Now, once he got out of that phase of the morning, oh, he was great. But baby, when the next morning came, this cycle started all over again.
Yep.
And I'll never forget. And they said, send Poppy. Because mom couldn't drop him off. She really needed to help somebody picking him up. So it was like, send Poppy, which was another little boy who he would play with during the day. And that was the only way they could pick Lamar up from that house. Because you had to take Poppy. And I'm saying to myself, if y'all don't kick this habit from the beginning with this separation anxiety with these kids, all this holding on to them, and it's harder for you to let them go than for them to let you go. You ever been to a daycare center? I would drop the girls off sometimes, and you see the mother, oh my God. I was like, you're gonna make a mess for you. You gotta go to work. Just hug, kiss, bye. You doing all, and you know what? This stuff, it just leaks into your adult years. This stuff didn't just happen when you were 33. This happened when you were 3. And mom kept, come on. Yo, big messes were once little messes. Pastor Brenda's saying something here. So glad Pastor Vinny and I have friends outside of each other. You have to have different perspectives, which can enhance and strengthen your relationship. Remember, I don't do jail ministry from the inside. It's true. Where is your outlet? I can't stand to see couples where every time, oh, well, your friends got to be my friends. No. Where is their outside life? It doesn't have to be as though you're a single individual, but it has to be some separation. Or every time they leave the house, the phone ringing every 2 minutes. Oh my God. Oh my God. Have you ever been with somebody who lives like that? Every time, every 2 minutes, the phone rings because y'all can't separate. Well, let him or her go. This stuff, this ain't started. This ain't started yesterday. This has not started yesterday. This is some serious stuff. Shanti says, I love it, Pastor Brenda. Yes. All right. The next thing they say, one person can be both the problem and the comfort. Shall I say, praise the Lord. Hallelujah and amen. I'm not playing, y'all. He didn't drove you crazy. She didn't drove you crazy, but now you ain't got nobody to go to but the person who's driving you crazy. Tamika.
So we just had an argument. I'm not finished. I'm not through. I'm still mad, and one of the benefits, and not that we spill all the beans about things, but sometimes you just need a reset. Let me go and hang out with my friend for an hour, 2 hours, whatever, laugh, giggle, blah, 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 run, talk, whatever. You made me mad. I'm still mad. Now you come to me and you want to woo woo la 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 la. I don't want to talk to you right now. I don't even want to see you right now. You can't be both at the same time. So now I got to swallow all of this because you're the same person that just made me mad. We can't even look like, I don't want to talk to my husband right now. I want to talk to such and such. You're still my husband. So, I can't avoid those things with you because you don't give me a time to reset. When you have those exterior, and now I want to also be clear. That doesn't mean that every time you have an argument, you go hang out with a friend and you go no. But every now and then, you need to be able to have some place where you can go, even if it's another room, to be able to reset. The fact that you're my torturer and my friend can be insurmountable. Oh my gosh. And as we speak, look at this here.
Speaking of the torturer, the torturer has arrived.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. That was funny. All right. Good morning, Brother Al.
Abraham was the father of Isaac. Isaac was the father of Jacob. Jacob had 12 sons for real, and these were the children of Israel. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
He mentioned torturing everybody.
Woo.
The torturing ain't confined to just the wife. Just torturing. Glad to have you on, Brother Al. I'm going to bring you in last on this round. Pastor KL, they say one person can't be both the problem and the comfort.
That's definitely true. The other thing I look at too is that let's just say Pastor Steph and I are married. You know, she would really be happy about that. So let me just make her feel good today. but sometimes in a relationship, you don't want to talk to the wife. You want to talk to Stephanie. Sometimes people just walk in this title. You know, well, I'm the wife, so we need to talk. No, sometimes I just need Stephanie to be Stephanie and just to be real, so we can have a real conversation. You know, and people don't do that once they get married anymore. They're tied. You know, and then, you know, when you argue and then you want to figure out this argument, I don't want to argue with my wife. Sometimes you have to be able to step out of that mode, and I step out of husband mode, so we can figure out how we can work this out together. But because I'm the husband and I'm the head of the household, and what I say, and then because of I'm not finished yet, we got it. No, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Hint, Tamika.
Sound like he had a few though. Exactly.
Yes, he got some experience here, right? He's got some experience. Oh, my goodness gracious. All right. Shanti says, I always say that you can't be the one to start the fire and the one to put it out. Choose a side. Terrence is laughing at Brother Al. And Pastor Brendan says, you can't be the arsonist and the firefighter at the same time. You need time to cool off and reset. You can't unring the bell or a bell. Brother Al, what say you about, listen, neither one of you got any friends, and now this is the result of what happens in certain instances in this relationship. And one of the things is one person can be both the problem and the comfort. They're cautioning you, you need to find some outside friends.
Yeah, first of all, that's crazy that you ain't got no friends. That's telling me a lot about you right there. You ain't got no friends, nobody you can talk to. But yeah, you can't be the problem and the problem solver. That sounds crazy. That's just like saying you the pilot and the passenger.
Oh,
you can't do that.
Brother Al.
I'm gonna fly the plane, and then I'm also sitting in the back waiting for the little peanuts you give me. You can't do it.
Wow, I like that. I like that.
Al is deep today. All right, Al.
I got to make it lost time. But yeah, you can't do both. No, you got to be either one or the other, and you definitely need some good friends. Somebody that I can go talk to this person, and hear what they feel about this situation, or maybe even give me some good advice.
Absolutely. I've always said this about just being in a relationship, and I never understand women who he done made you mad, and now you're going, and I'm not even talking about marriages, I'm just talking about relationships. So he done made you mad, and now you waiting for him to call you so you could cry on his shoulder. Ain't he the one that made you mad? It's like, yo, how does this even work? I'm just waiting on him to call. No, here's the terminology. I'm not gonna feel better till he calls.
I guess you won't
You're
feel
looking
better.
for the person who upset you to now make you feel better. Okay. Mental illness number one. Yeah, you're out of control, because that doesn't even make any sense. It makes no sense. And you have friends, but we have to think of the perspective here. And I like all the scenarios that you all gave. All righty. Being someone's everything, they say, leads to burnout. Being somebody's everything, you get burnt out after a while. Brother Al, I'm gonna start with you.
Absolutely. You know, you trying to be everything that person needs. You know, so that means you even got to learn, sister. I got to be your God as well. Nah, no sir. You trying to be everything. Oh no, that ain't gonna work. That ain't gonna work.
All righty.
I'm being your lover, your comforter, your God, you know, your cook, you know, your waitress. Nah. No, sir.
Absolutely. Pastor KL, being someone's everything leads to burnout.
Yeah, and leads to burnout quickly, especially if you have a 9 to 5 or any kind of job. Because now when I come home, I got to be the psychologist. So, you know what I mean? At the house, I got to deal with what, and you probably don't work, but you got emotional problems because ain't nobody been home with you. You know, it feel like the walls are closing in. Well, open the door. You know, I mean, I'm just trying to understand. You have access to other things, but yeah, you have to be this for them. You got to be that for them, and that burns you out. That's why me and Al, you sit in the driveway for 20 minutes before we go inside.
You know what? Oh my gosh. Tamika, what say you? Being someone's everything leads to burnout. Agree or disagree?
Oh yeah, I definitely agree. You know, and you putting too much weight on the person, the receiver of that. You know, it's kind of like the color purple. You know, my shoes need a signing, my socks need a mending, the clothes need a washing. You know, and by the time, you know, when do I get to be me? You know, there's so many things that I'm trying to do for you, whether you're at home or working. You know, that's a lot of strain and stress. You know, and it will create burnout because I don't ever get a chance to just sit back and relax because I'm always doing something for you.
Absolutely. Terrence says Pastor KL had a rough life with women. You think, Terrence? You think? All right. Friends are what let the marriage breathe. Agree or disagree, Tamika?
Totally agree. You know, it's like the mesh, like, you know, when you put something in the wash and you have it won't allow it to be abrasive. You know, it's just enough to be able to breathe so that when it comes out all clean and no stress, no strain. You know, and again, it doesn't mean that you spill all the beans to, you know, your friends, but you get you're able to reset. You know, recently I just went away, you know, to Virginia, and I came back and I was with my best friend for a few days. And when I came back, the relationship was so much better. Not that we had any issues, but it's nice to be able to just reset, just put a pause button, go away, come back, reset.
Okay. Brother Al.
Yeah, it was nice when Tamika went away. I got to get a peace of mind.
I knew it. I knew he was coming back with something. I knew it.
But yes, I do agree. You know, even talking with the young lady and men that are here at the school, you know, they get in a relationship and they get their friends all involved, and then you got friends involved who don't know nothing. I used to tell the one young lady, I said, "How you listening to her? And she don't even have a boyfriend. She don't even know what she's talking about." So, you know, friends have to step out and just mind your business. At times, just mind your business and let them breathe, let them work it out.
Okay. Pastor KL, they say friends are what let the marriage breathe.
I would be remiss if I didn't tell Tamika. You know, Tamika, I'm not supposed to tell you what goes on in the men's group that we have, but there was a GoFundMe for you to go away. I just want you to know.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness.
Where do you think she got
Oh,
all the, where do you think she got all the spending
Yes.
money from?
Oh my goodness. So with friends like this, you need no enemies, girl.
At all. I married one of the two of these.
Child.
But yeah, I think it's important to have friends. Listen, you know, I would often, you know, don't you need a girls trip? You know, and sometimes, listen, for me, for men, you know, when you offer your lady a girl trip, she really, really liking you now. But she don't know that your trip is her trip. You know what I'm saying? So you send them away and you on vacation. Now she just thinks that, oh, he's so concerned about me and want me to have a girl trip. Yeah, because I need a break too. So when you breaking, I'm breaking. And not that I want to do other things. Sometimes we just want to be alone. Be alone. And, you know, people will often say, well, you can go in the other room. That's not being alone. When you being alone and all of a sudden you hear, ow, ow, can you come from the other room? That ain't being alone. I'm sorry. That ain't being alone.
Oh my goodness gracious. Wow. Pastor Brenda says Pastor Vinny went away this past weekend. The theme in the house was blessed quietness.
I'm telling tomorrow. I'm telling tomorrow.
I'm telling you, you know, it just it's a breath of fresh air just to go out and change, you know, who you're talking to. You know, when you don't have any friends and all you're doing is looking at that one other person, it's definitely not something that's healthy. Definitely not something that's healthy. You know, a change of scenery. Let's put it like that. A change of scenery. So we're going to add Shantice on to the party. See what she's got to say today. Oh, wait, she may not be ready to come on. Hold on. Yeah, I don't think she's ready. Okay, so we'll join her in a minute. So let's just talk about a change of scenery. And I'll start with you, Brother Al. You know, it's not just about having friends. Let's put it with a change of scenery. How does that fit into, you know, I need something outside of you? What does that say to you, that terminology?
Again, just some time for yourself. You know, when you come home, like it's the same routine. Come home from work. I see how you doing, sweetie. Give you a hug. Sit down, watch TV, or go in the kitchen and cook. Or you know, you need to get away from that for a moment. So, you know, let me see something different. Let me go meet up with the boys. We play ball, or we talk about the sports, or something. You know, it's a big thing because it becomes a routine. You know, it's a routine, and people get caught in those routines. Like a perfect example, my sister's in a routine. I don't care what goes on, what happens. She's sticking to the plan. If something come in and mess up that plan, she lose her mind because she don't get a change of scenery. And you need that. You need that.
Okay. Tamika, what does a change of scenery, how does that fit this particular conversation?
Change of scenery is a beautiful thing. You know, if I give you the imagery of, you know, your normal household, and let's just say nothing changes. Every day is hot dogs and French fries. Okay, what we having today? Hot dogs and French fries. The next day, hot dogs and French fries. And it's fine for the first couple of days, maybe. Then after a while, it's like hot dogs and French fries again. You get tired of the routine. Every now and then, it's a beautiful thing to break up the monotony. Let's go over here. Let's do this. Let's just change the scenery. You know, we'll go to, you know, the movies. You know, that's something different. You're not always at home. You know, you're just breaking up the monotony of every day. After a while, when you get to the point where it's monotony all the time, You don't expect anything. You don't want anything. You just, routine. And I think it's important to shake it up a little bit so that, oh, wow, that was cool. It gives you something new to talk about. When you separate for a little while, you're not always talking about the same thing. What happened to you today while you were away? This is what happened. This is where I went. It incites new conversations, and new moves makes, gives us new results.
Absolutely. Pastor Kale, what does a change of scenery mean to you in this essence?
Well, excuse me. Let's go to in my former life when I had my twin girls, and they're old now, and I was with their mother. I would come home and she'd be like, "I can't do this anymore. I've been with these kids all day. The only conversation I'm having is potty. That's the biggest vocabulary word I have. I need a change of scenery." And me and my stupidness, I'd be like, "Well, take them to the park. You can see something different." You know what I mean? That's a change of scenery. But sometimes you have to get out. You know what I mean? When you're tied up in the same rut over and over and over again, you got to clear your mind. Sometimes you got to take the kids and just let her go and be and see. But unfortunately, young men back in my days, I didn't see it like that. I said, you want to change the scenery, go to the park. You ain't got to stay in the room. Go see a slide or swing. That's a change of scenery.
Terrence, Pastor Brenda says, tell him, Pastor KL. Terrence says, let's not ask Pastor KL what a change of scenery means. He's just going to say, change the woman. He been listening to you a little too long.
Wow.
Welcome, Shantice. You know what? I'm mad at you. Good morning. Change of scenery. You've been listening to the conversation.
Yes.
What does a change of scenery mean? When it comes to just the two of you or your only two friends in your life, in your world, you need a change of scenery.
That would be what Terrence said. You can't be the person. I gotta look at somebody else. Get away from me. Get away. But definitely going, there has to be, it speaks a lot, like Brother Al said, so you don't have any interest because naturally things you're interested in, you'll gravitate to that. So if you're the type who likes to go to the movies, if you're the type, we always say we hate the fact that they close the movie theater down by us, because on a good day, if we really wanted to, we could walk to the movie theater. I'll go on the app, oh, such and such is playing. I don't meet nobody else, me, myself, and I go right to the movies, chill, and come right back home. And sometimes it feel like you done had a whole day out, and all you did was go to your local movie theater, and where your spouse may not be that heavy into movies, or they only want to go if it's like a huge movie playing. But for you, that's just that peace of mind. I get to choose whatever snack I want. I get to sit there and watch the movie and not have someone ask me what was going on. Like, I saw the movie already and now I'm taking you. It's like, listen, I'm by myself. So it says a lot to just be able to even exchange the scenery as far as, okay, this is what we may like as a couple, but this is what I like. So I'm about to go do what I like. This is my thing. And then that way, even those couple of hours, I get to see some other faces. Even if it is the person on the other side of the concession stand. And then I come back home and now I see you. But there has to be some type of shift throughout the day. It can't just be we're looking at each other all day, every day.
Okay. Here's an interesting one that they bring up. Men and women think differently. So this is one of the reasons why it's unhealthy to just have the only friend in your life, your spouse, and that's it. All right, Tamika, I'm gonna start with you.
Yeah, that's definitely true. We do, think differently. We think this way, and it's kind of comical because when you're talking to someone who's the same gender, they automatically get it. Sometimes when you're talking to someone of another gender, they don't get it. They don't see it. We've often on this broadcast heard Pastor KL say men are simple, and women are, to them, we're a lot more complicated. We have a lot going on simultaneously. I'll give you a prime example. Just saying, for instance, when you come to a female, she already has about 16 things in her head. And then you stop her mid-flight of whatever it is. She can engage on that 17th thing. Sometimes men can't. He's working on that one thing, not picking at him, but then you engage or interrupt, and then life is over for him because of that one thought. We think differently. We respond differently.
Okay. Brother Al.
You take it easy how you talk to me. Yeah, definitely. We think different. We think differently. Sometimes us men, like you said, we will do it the simple way. Okay, this, and that's it. But, especially if you planning something with the kids, you got kids, and you planning a graduation, or you planning something. Or I give a perfect example: a wedding. A wedding is a perfect example. The man will be like, all right, let's just walk down the aisle and say I do, and just call it a day. But the woman be like, oh, no, we got to get this. Then we got to get this color tablecloth. Then we got to get the flowers to match this. And we ain't trying to do all that. We ain't trying to do all that. It's straight to the point where I changed my mind. We definitely think different.
All right, Shantice.
Yes. Oh, yeah, the thought process is it definitely switches up how the men process things versus how the women process things. So if all I know is to be around you, and now, because see, that means I ain't sitting with God either. Okay. So now we're trying to, so is it like we're sharing a brain? Because I've witnessed couples like that. And it's almost like on Steve Harvey, he's like, oh gosh, they're sharing one brain. I hope it says. And because it's like, how is it that? It's like, how is it that it's a difference between you being in tune with someone versus, as Pastor Steph would ask, so between the two brains, no one could think of. And you like, dang, well, how many brain cells are there between us? Do you smoke? Because they're already anatomy. Yeah, but I've witnessed couples like that, and it's like, don't nobody know nothing? No one looked and said, turn to your neighbor and say, neighbor, what kind of decision was that? Like, we just going about this the same way. No one is snapping the other one like, all right, come on, let's come to our senses, or you come to your senses, or no one can look to the other and say, I told you we shouldn't have done that, because we just share one brain. And it's because we're just always with each other. There needs to be some time to separate, because even when you think about your exes, like if you ever engage with someone you've ever dealt with, if you allow the Lord to grow you, and then you somehow end up coming across this ex again, you just be like, wow, now I see why we split up. But can you say that if you just stay around the person all the time? No.
Okay. Well, here's an interesting concept that just came up. Oh, Pastor KL, you didn't throw in your 2 cents about men and women. Wait, are we up to men and women think differently? Is that where we are?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Pastor KL, men and women think differently. That's why this can't be your only friend.
Yeah, totally. I mean, Shantice went in and out of it. It's some good points. If you're constantly with each other, naturally, you're not spending no time with God. So you're in a whole natural relationship. There's no spiritual relationship at all. Because if you were both in a spiritual relationship, if you was in tune with God, a lot of decisions would be different. A lot of situations would be different. So not only do you not have friends, you don't have God. So you really stuck. There is no outlet for you. And the things that you say, because God is not in me, I'm not going to agree, nor am I going to see it that way. And the things that you say may be deep to you, or may be shallow to me. And the things that I say, for a man, anything we say is deep. Y'all don't catch the depth of it, but it's deep. but it's real shallow to y'all. So yeah, and unless you have God at the helm of this thing, directing you, giving you discernment of what's going on, and y'all never gonna see. One is from Mars, one is from Venus.
Okay. I just came across something, and I wish we had more than 15 minutes or so. But they say that marrying your best friend is not realistic, because when that friendship begins to convert to responsibilities and leaning on one another in a different way. So they bring up bills, and now you're partners on this journey. You're not friends on the journey, you're partners on this journey. They bring up parenting, that you're not friends, but you're co-parenting together. That for a lot, not everybody, but for a lot of people, those roles begin to kind of push the friendship to the side. Would you agree or would you disagree, Brother Al?
Oh, I agree totally. I was in a relationship with a friend. Like, we were really good friends. When we got into that relationship, I don't know what happened. Everything changed. So we had to call it off and became back friends, and everything was good. So I can't explain it, but for something changed when we became partners. Something changed. And I was like, well, wait a minute, I don't like this, and we went back to being friends. So I agree with that totally.
Okay. I got one question. Was there intimacy?
Yeah, it was.
That's what changed it.
Yeah.
If nothing else changed a friendship,
Yeah.
Intimacy,
You're right.
shifts everything.
Yep.
All right. Okay. That one thing alone.
Yeah.
Take it into a whole different dimension.
And Pastor, it's funny. It's like when we were friends, we could talk about anything. Once we got together, don't talk to me.
Yeah, right.
I didn't explain you jack.
Right. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Shantice.
Well, yeah, that's definitely a huge factor. But if we're friends, and not our version of friends, Jesus, the Jesus way of friends, then we're already gonna see things that will either be like, yeah, we need to stay here, or okay, this possibly could, but some things would have to be tweaked on both ends, and that's with anyone, because the whole trajectory does, shift. But like you said, Pastor Steph, I may have to lean on you in a certain way that I didn't have to lean on you when we were only friends. But now that we're increasing, everything else increases, responsibilities increase, perspectives increase, and so on and so forth. So I think it's that a lot of times become an epic fail when you don't have Jesus in the center, because immediately you lose focus. It's like we could be friends for 90 years. And now we decide to take this to boyfriend, girlfriend, husband and wife level. And now we forget about the whole 90-year friendship. We forget about everything we learned about each other the 90 years because now it's like I have to be this whole brand new person because now we're in a romantic relationship. And it's like, no, you don't. Yes, things need to some things need to shift, but the foundation has been laid. If this is who you're supposed to be with, if you're doing it right and you're focusing on the right things, then that's you gotta be friends first. So if I can't rely on being your friend first, then ain't nothing gonna work. Because going the opposite way definitely does not work. We cannot. You look good, I look good. Now we go together. Now we trying to build a friendship, build intimacy, build finances. No, it definitely does not. Build our own relationship with Jesus, build our couple relationship with Jesus. No, it don't work. That don't work. So if we can't start with the friendship first, then something wrong with us in life. Period.
Okay. Pastor KL, they say marrying your best friend, quote unquote, is not really realistic because the responsibilities of that next level will soon wash away the friendship. Agree or disagree?
I agree to a point because, well, first of all, let me say this. You and I are just friends. Don't ask me who I slept with, okay? We just friends. That's all. That's all.
Oh my God. I know my boundaries.
But you know what? Even from that side of it, as friends, we can have these conversations. Hey, did you sleep with him? Did you sleep with her? And as friends, we'll say it. Now, once we become into a relationship and you say, did you sleep with him? And I tell my same friend, yes. But now we're in a relationship. Now you got attitude. Now you looking sideways and thinking sideways because now we're together. When we wasn't together, it was just a conversation, and then responsibility changes things a lot. You know what I mean? You and I could not agree and we'll still talk to each other tomorrow. We just didn't agree yesterday. But now when you talk about not agreeing in parenting, not agreeing in doing things in a household, that's a total different responsibility, total different friendship. And because we didn't have to have this kind of relationship on the outside, now transferring it to this kind of relationship, that could be some problems. Because I can't just shut you down or say, okay, we're going to agree to disagree and walk away or start another conversation. Because like we just heard from Tamika, I'm not finished yet. So you still want to have a conversation.
Let me say something to you. There is nothing worse than you shutting down a conversation when a woman's not done. You want to, man, you might as well.
And don't let her be right. And don't let her be right.
You just don't want that life.
That's why I'm here to make a conversation. I'm sitting there with my little baseball bat.
What kind of turmoil going on over there?
I ain't even worried. Don't y'all believe the foolishness that's coming out of that pipe right there?
But wait, is it the bat and every other gadget in the house, Tamika? Then it definitely poses no threat.
I got my electric can opener I got from Temu.
Let's not talk about the gadgets.
So he becomes no threat after that. Okay, that's what I said. There's nothing to say after we bring the gadgets into the equation, because that had already lessened his argument. Oh, go sit down somewhere. Terrence says Shantice is getting a whole new man. She ain't going to the movies. She's like, next. All righty. And Terrence says, Pastor KL sounds hurt. If you want to talk about it, Pastor KL, I'm here for you. Oh, gosh. All right, Tamika, what say you? Did I go to you yet?
You didn't.
No, okay, I didn't think. Okay, go ahead.
So I want to make sure, because I stepped away for a moment. Can you just give me that whole lineup one more time?
Yes. So they say that, when you marry your best friend, it's not going to go the distance. It eventually, a lot of times, and not every not every time, but a lot of times the friendship becomes overshadowed by your real responsibilities now in this relationship, because now you're no longer friends, you are now co-parents. You're no longer friends, but you're partners in a business, if you will. And all of that begins to kind of push the friendship to the side, and all you got is what you're faced with every day.
So, best friends, they hang together. There's a time, here we go, about with separation. You hang with your friend, you do whatever, la la la. Okay, see you later. When you say I do and you shift, now I'm with you all day long. Every day, all day. We're not doing you sleep on the couch, I sleep in the kitchen. In the bedroom, those type of things. We're not doing that. There is no time to reset. Not only that, the responsibilities makes it different. Like, I'm seeing another crazy gadget that don't work that come in the house, and we spent this is money. You spent this money on that. So we're talking about, it could be something small. It could be something that I cooked that he didn't like, or that, and again, resources, you bought this. Everything that I do impacts us. Everything he does impacts us. If we're going somewhere, let's say, just for instance, you're going somewhere and I'm dressed for his family and I'm thinking I'm looking good and he's looking at me crazy, it's a weak thing. So every move that we make, it is different. As a best friend, you'd be like, oh, well, I don't like that outfit, but I don't care because you're my best friend. I might be able to talk to you about it differently, but now that I am your spouse, and depending on how you say whatever it is you say, now you got another trauma, and we discussed it, but I'm not through yet. So now we still have to deal with this, and you don't get a break. You don't get to just walk away and lay down and go to sleep. Because I might I might throw dynamite at you. You just never know.
Oh no, not the dynamite.
She didn't just do the dynamite. Wow. So Terrence says, I hope you're paying attention, Brother Al. Because Tamika is spitting some facts. My due time crew, thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation, and we pray you have a blessed day.
All right, you too.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Last one, everybody.
Ooh. Oh, I tell you, every time I leave the conversation, I'm left with that last one is really big, because you have people who say, I married my best friend, or I would really hope that, I could marry my best friend. You have some people who say, we're friends past everything. Here's the thing. You need to make sure you build that friendship before you go into the marriage. Because as much as that was said here today is accurate, we're going to have to lean on that friend later. It is a big dynamic difference. Like Tamika said, when me and you are not spending a certain overnight together, we can chill and we can laugh. And then when we get into it as friends, you go east, I go west, because we don't have any other connection than the connections we have. But when you step into the parenting, the co-parenting, and when you step into the business partnership, because that's what all paying the bills and making decisions together, that's what that is. That now becomes a partnership. When you have to deal with that, when I can't leave you, I can't say, all right, you take care, I'll talk to you later, and your later could be another week. You don't have that with your spouse, because y'all going home to share a bed, y'all going home to share responsibilities, y'all going home to share children, y'all sharing a house, y'all sharing a car. It shifts greatly. So you're going to need all of those friendship factors. Now, here's what Pastor Steph is talking about. Forgiveness. We're going to need that friendship forgiveness, that friendship type forgiveness. I constantly remind the ladies when I'm speaking to them, when you're mad at your girlfriend and she done pissed you off, and you walk away, you're not breaking the friendship. You just ain't talking to her for a couple of days. But for some reason, when the man does the same thing, or when there's an infraction from your husband, all the world has just come to an end. You ain't sharing no bed. You ain't giving up no sex. You taking the plate is thrown across the thing, or he got to fix his own meals now. Or I ain't washing them clothes. You not. If you don't know, you better learn. Go look at the instructions. The whole thing shifts. We have to go back to that friendship type love. That's what we have to rely on. So the writer is correct when it says that, there's this, I want to marry my best friend. But after a while, some of those friendship components take a shift because of the roles we now play in one another's life. But you cannot that's why that foundation is important. So let's go with the proper foundation. The proper foundation is a relationship between you and God. First primary relationship is between you and God. Because some might say, well, you need to know yourself first before you need to know God. Can I tell you something? It's God who shows you who you really are. How many of us can say we really could see ourselves nasty, disgusting, filthy, unpleasant, disrespectful, before God entered into the equation? That's why it is just this push for you to accept God in your life. And I tell you all the time, I say, write your list down and then go compare those things to the way and how you handle it and the way the Bible tells us to handle it. Because a whole lot of times we're going to think we right. So you don't even know yourself before God introduces you to who you really are. Till God begins to expose who you really are. Because only the word of God is going to let you know whether you're right or wrong. Because we do all of this, that's the way I've been all my life. That's garbage. So that's why you can't change, because it's the way you've been for 35, 39, 150. I said last week, it just grates my nerves when I hear elderly people say, I'm old enough. I done been through enough. I can say what I want to say. They ain't got no carte blanche on that one. We have a responsibility. And God is showing us firsthand who we are. Only God can expose us as to who we are. So once you allow, that's your first relationship. Now, the relationship with your spouse and that friendship that should have been at the bottom, that's going to be your foundation. Because everything about who God has shown you are needs to go into that friendship, needs to go into every single relationship you have. Because we have multiple relationships where we're relied upon to do multiple things. So there's a relationship with our parents, if we have. There's a relationship with our siblings. There's a relationship with coworkers. There's a relationship with our spouse or our intimate relationships. We have a relationship with our children. We have a relationship as an employee or an employer. There's a shift that goes on a continual basis. If you were to line up everybody in front of you, you cannot do the same thing and cannot be to everybody who you were to the other ones. So that's why that relationship with God needs to be number one, because that relationship with God is going to help teach you how to be a friend. We don't know how to be a friend until we met the man named Jesus, who shows us how to be a friend. Until God and Jesus exposed what friendship is really like. You hear Shanti say all the time, man, this thing friend is overrated. Because let me tell you something, to be a friend, that takes some real love. That takes that agape love. To be a friend, that takes that godly love. So if you got that on the bottom of you and him, or him of her, you and her, then when God builds on that, and now you become a married couple, then you're going to have to, because it's going to shift. Because being parenting ain't always going to look the same to him and her. But if you go back to the bottom, the foundation, and the two of you can say, let's look at the word of God on this one. That's what the problem is for married couples. Ain't nobody going back to the word of God. Everything is about what I feel, what you feel, what I think, what you think, what I done been through, what you done been through, how I haven't forgiven you for that, how you haven't forgiven me for that. That's what this relationship is now founded on. It's no longer founded on Jesus, the cornerstone. So when you are at that parenting roadblock, and let me tell you something, I have had married Christian husbands say to me, it's like they my kids and her kids, but I have no say. I can't, when I go to discipline them, it's like, I don't want you disciplining them that way. We ain't talking about the new daddy. We're talking about the original daddy. How does that even work? That literally makes sense to people. But if you go down to the biblical foundation of how it is to raise a child, I've had some Christian wives say to me, I'm not comfortable with the way he raises, the way he disciplines the kids, because I remember how I was disciplined. And I'm like, you already starting off wrong. That last piece right there, because I remember the way I was raised. Were both your parents Christian? No. Then you can't. There's no comparison. There's no comparison. How do you rob this man of disciplining his child and you feel this man is in the Lord? So I ask, is everything he does godly? Yes, then you wrong. Then you're 100% wrong. He cannot implement anything into the discipline. I'm telling you, I've heard from both sides. And it never, ever, ever works any different for the woman who's speaking, who says, I don't like it because I remember the way I was disciplined. So he bears the guilt of the way you were disciplined. So he can't talk to his kids. He can't discipline his kids a certain way because of the way you were spoken to or the way you were hit with a belt, or whatever the situation was. This is why the friendship thing, they say, goes out the window. They're 100% right. The relationship becomes fleeting at that moment. The friendship. We were friends? We were friends for 5 years before we got married. Should you have gotten married? See, I don't have a problem going back to asking that hard question. Should you really have been married in the first place? A lot of people don't like that. Again, I tell you, God has me asking the hard questions. All right, so should this have even happened? So now that we knee deep in this, and are you two the same two people that started in the marriage? So the way you see yourself now, the way you see him, the way you see yourself now, the way you see her, were you the same people in the beginning that you are now? Sometimes the answer is yes. Well, if you're not in the Lord, you can do anything. Because see, I can't guide you if you ain't in the Lord, because I can't prompt you to go on biblical principles that say God can turn anything around. Because if I tell that to two unbelievers, what does that possibly mean? Nothing. I can say to two unbelievers, you know what? Listen, I know you maybe you shouldn't have gotten married. But now that you're married, there's something to work for or toward, because God can turn anything around. Well, guess what? If you two ain't thinking about God, remember that first relationship. If you ain't got no first relationship, then what are we working on? What's the basis of it? I can't tell you go back to the Bible. Because remember, that Bible directs us in anything. So when we have a problem with our spouse with finances, go back to the Word of God. Who plans to build a house without counting up the cost? You know how many people I hear making talking about their relationship, and their finances are in ultimate shambles. How y'all making plans to do anything? You ain't got a dime to do it with, or you got a nickel today and you'll have a penny tomorrow. At the rate you're going, so how y'all making plans? Again, I ask the hard questions. And some people say, you think you're right about everything? No, I go right back to the Word of God. Everything, I go back to the Word of God. Y'all planning on what you're going to do tomorrow when you can't even get through the day. Help me. Y'all haven't even relied on the Word of God to help you get through the day, but y'all worry about what's going to happen 9 years down the line. How many conversations have I had with people? They don't have children. Well, when we have kids, I want to put them in a private school. But I think public school is good. Y'all plan on having kids tomorrow? So why are we talking about this? I just got finished talking to you about 9 things. I just got finished hearing 9 things that y'all can't get through today. And y'all talking about when you have children? Daddy, you plan on having children tomorrow? If you're not, you say, well, no, in about 5 years, we're looking to have children. Who are you going to be in 5 years? You are not going to be, hopefully, if you're in the Lord, you're not going to be the same person in 5 years. So why are we talking about what you're going to do with kids in 5 years when you hopefully won't be who you are in 5 years? All this makes sense to people. All this makes sense. All of this makes sense. And I'm sitting there like, oh my God, are you serious? This is why what they say in this article is it really holds true. Really holds true. I have watched men watch women make some bad monetary and financial moves, and they crush them on this all the time. Well, when y'all were friends, she wasn't spending the same way. Oh yeah, I thought she was, but I thought she was going to grow out of it. Based on what? If you didn't bring it to her attention, or y'all weren't working on that, is she supposed to just like evolve out of nowhere? She could with a relationship with God. And again, that first relationship, showing God who she really wants to be, and him telling her, you are trash when it comes to finances. Because she thinks she the bomb when it comes to finances. But God letting me know that I'm just bad with finances, and accepting what God is saying to me makes a big difference than her not going to God at all. And now you expect for her to spend your money. Pastor KL brought up last week, he said, I was entrusting her, giving her the money to pay the mortgage. And when I looked up, my home was in foreclosure. Well, my question becomes, well, what was she doing? Did you watch how she spent money? Because that's a hell of a move to make. That's one move to make. I ain't seen how you go grocery shopping, but I'm not gonna put money in your hands for the mortgage. No, we gotta take baby steps first. It's like with your children. You don't just put your child give them the keys and say, go ahead and drive the car. You want to see how they drive. You watch how responsible they are with the dog. You do all kinds of things before you get to the point where you feel confident enough to give them the keys. That's why the friendships are not they ain't lasting once you become a married couple, because the friendships weren't right. All those things with the friendship that you accepted ain't acceptable no more. All those things that your girlfriend did that you used to giggle about, now that your husband's doing it, you ain't smiling no more. All this stuff matters. And that's why once we become intimate friend or have an intimate relationship, there is no more friendship. That's why I asked Brother Al, okay, so were you intimate? Because I can tell you right there, once you get up in that bed, ain't nothing the same. Because see, now I expect you to handle my heart a different way than when we were friends. I expect for you to protect me in front of your friends differently than you protected me in front of your friends when we were just friends. I'm expecting you to treat me differently. Like maybe you want to bring me a little flower or take me out to dinner. Now, when we were friends, we went Dutch. There's no obligation. But now that I done gave you the bed, now you need to take me out. You need to spend money on me. Now, when we were friends and I didn't know some of your other friends, that was fine. But now that we are intimate, I need to know all your friends. Who's the phone? Who's on the phone? Who we talking to? Why your phone ringing every 15 minutes? Yeah, it shifts. It shifts once that bed becomes part of the equation. That's all it takes. Forget about the parenting. Because Lord knows that just takes it to a whole new dimension. Just get in the bed with your friend and watch how, let me tell you something, the change takes place once the orgasm is over. Listen, we adults here, if you got a kid on the list, close their ears. Once the orgasm takes place, it's a whole different relationship. Now, I got different expectations. Now, things ain't so tolerable. Now, things ain't tolerated. And it's understanding. Not the next day. Once it happens. Because now he got out the bed too soon. Before he got out the bed, he looked at the phone and then he got out the bed. Oh my God. Come on, ladies. Come on, ladies. Give it up. You know I'm telling the truth. You know everything shifts. Now, when he was your friend, he looked at the phone 15 times, won't bother you. Now that y'all sleeping together, if he looks at that phone 3 times in a certain amount of time, now you all suspicious and twisted. Yo. It all goes back to the relationship with God. Because like Al said, they were friends, they took it to the next level and then decided, nah, this ain't working. And they took it back to the friendship and the friendship was fine. That's what happens a lot of times with married couples. They're buddies. And they can't stand one another when they get married. And then as soon as that part of they divorce, they are the best of friends. That's because their relationship with God wasn't as deep as it needed to be, or you weren't supposed to be married to that person in the first place. You thought you could take it to another level, but the Lord didn't say so, and that's what you two thought. Oh, since we're getting together, we're getting along so well now. Being married, I'm marrying my best friend. Man, let me tell you something. All of this goes back to a relationship with God. Because see, once you're communing with God on a regular relationship, He's going to let you know how to handle each relationship you have, including the friends. Because Pastor KL just said to me the other day, he reminded me, everybody don't friend the same. And he said it here on the broadcast. And I had to say to him, yeah, there was, sometimes there's expectation and you end up realizing that I expected you to be that way. And nah, it's life. Such is life. Such is life. Such is life. So make sure you develop that relationship with God, because it will help navigate. It will help you navigate in all your relationships. I don't care how insignificant those relationships are. If it's the dog walker, you need to have a relationship with your dog walker properly. You really do, because you don't want the person caring for your dog if it's just about money. Because then they kicking the dog and they pulling the dog and all kinds of things. Every relationship in your life matters. Not just the intimate ones. But the only way we can really learn is to pattern our relationships behind the way Jesus and God patterned their relationship with us. He says, be ye holy, for I am holy. We got to make sure these things are in its right place. So don't leave God out of the equation. You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth, because they will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us each and every opportunity you get, and I'm hoping that it increases and helping us to keep that chat room alive. Please don't miss this opportunity to give your life to Christ right now. Please do not miss this opportunity to just strengthen that relationship with the Lord right now, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares. Whereas Let's Talk About Tuesday Church Folk Day. Until then, I love you.